740 here, Big 550, KTRS. Kathy Helbig is with us. She is a real estate guru, been so for 18 years, though she only looks 25, so she started in the business when she was 10. Co-owner of Keller Williams Realty West. She's in St. Louis County as well as St. Charles County. Good morning, Kathy Helbig.
Good morning.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about navigating building inspections in this market.
Yes, good one.
It's a little bit different these days. So, a couple of years ago when it was a buyer's market, you'd do a building inspection and pretty much ask for everything to be done and pretty much got it.
Right.
And at this point, there's, we're running into a lot of people that are not really understanding what the seller's market means. Even though they've done multiple offers and won the contract, now they're getting the house and then they go, well, we paid full price or over, so we want everything done on the building inspection.
Right.
And unfortunately, it still doesn't work that way.
So a building inspection doesn't mean they get a new kitchen.
You don't get a new house on a building inspection. Exactly. Especially when there's 5 people in line behind you waiting for you to ask for that new kitchen so that the seller kicks you to the curb and moves on to the next contract.
So what should we expect with a home inspection?
What you should expect, number one, is home inspections have changed over the past few years. They're very customer oriented to where it's not just about finding the defects in the home. It's about educating the building inspector's client on their house. So it's going through every nook and cranny and not only finding the hazards, the safety hazards and the defects, but it's also pointing out maintenance items. It's pointing out suggestions or changes or upgrades that you should make to your home over the years as you're the homeowner. Unfortunately, that confuses the buyer a lot of times, and they see this 30-page report full of items that say caulk around the windows,
right.
Expect to change your water heater in 5 years because it's in the mid-range of its life, and then they look at that and go, well, we want a new water heater and we want all new windows, because the building inspector has it on his list.
Right.
So you have to look at that in the light in which it's intended for and not think that that entire report is an expectation for the seller to make those repairs.
When I sold my house, I had to fix my sewer lateral. What was that about?
Well, you probably had an older house.
Yes.
And a lot of times, from the house to the street is the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay.
So if there's any blockages, then yes, it is your responsibility to, and that is a bigger item that a lot of buyers do ask for.
And that shows up in that home inspection, though.
It can, yes.
And so I had to fix it because that's one of those things that has to be fixed before you sell the house.
It doesn't have to. It's a negotiation piece between the buyer and seller. But typically a buyer will, dig their heels in on something like that.
Right, because that's a real problem as opposed to changing windows in 5 years.
Exactly. But we'll run into things like, the inspector will say there's a few years life left in a roof. It's not leaking.
Right.
It's a 20-year-old house. You knew it was a 20-year-old house when you wrote that contract, and all of a sudden you come in and say, now I want a new roof. Well, if that house had a new roof, it probably would have asked a little bit higher of a price.
Right.
So you've got to factor those things in. And then the last big thing that's happening right now is, in this race to get the contract, people are shortening time frames for inspections and things like that to win the deal. Be prepared and have a backup plan because these inspectors are booked up. So all of a sudden you'll shorten your 10-day period to a 5-day period and then start freaking out because you can't get any inspectors to get over there. So make sure you're prepared before you go in and do things like that and you have a backup plan.
Real estate still booming?
Real estate is still booming. Lots of inventory coming on now in May.
Right.
A lot of people that kind of didn't jump on the early spring market are coming on in May. That's
why you call Kathy Helbig. Her team of realtors will help you every step of the way. And don't forget the app. It's a great app. One app, KathyHelbigGroup.com. Download the app, and you can get all the information up to the second, way better than those national ones that don't even have half the information that you have. Kathy Helbig, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
KathyHelbigGroup.com, 314-276-SOLD, or KathyHelbigGroup.com.